A new airfield is built within easy striking distance of Rabaul. At the Russell Islands, about 30 miles northwest of Guadalcanal, a fleet of LSTs are nosed to the shore to be loaded with the equipment and supplies needed to complete an airstrip on the Green Islands, some 500 miles to the northwest. One of the units that is to make the trip is a detachment of the Army Airways communication system, which will make the radio installations that are so essential to the operation of an airstrip. Trucks heavily laden with all types of construction equipment are backed aboard the LSTs to be ready to roll ashore the moment the ramps of the ship are lowered at their destination. Many of the ships tow barrage balloons as a protection against low-flying enemy aircraft. When the loading is completed, the convoy stands out to sea and heads for the Green Islands, a small group of islands about halfway between Rabaul and Buca. Anti-aircraft guns are constantly on the alert. The 40mm Bofors are manned and ready, and the sky is searched continually for enemy planes, for the route of the convoy lies close to Japanese airfields. After steaming 3 days, the convoy sights the Green Islands group. The ships lay offshore the night before, and with the first light of the morning, they line up in single file to proceed through the narrow channel in the coral reef. Signals are exchanged by blinker with the shore station. Once the ships are in the lagoon, they run up to the beach and begin to discharge their cargo. Trucks start to roll ashore and are dispatched to their unloading points. Some to the airstrip, construction of which was already underway, and some to the bivouac area, over roads that are little more than mud trails through the jungle. The supplies they carry are quickly unloaded. Bulldozers cut through the jungle to clear a site for the airstrip, to make room for the construction of an operations tower, and to provide space for the unloading of heavy equipment. Full-grown trees are toppled over by the bulldozers. Those trees that are too heavy for such treatment are blasted out of the way by dynamite charges. Sites are planned and grades are established by surveyors. In spite of all the mechanized equipment, there is still plenty of work for the old-fashioned pick and shovel brigade. There's no water on the island, but the abundance of coconuts presents a temporary solution to the problem. Native materials are used as much as possible in the construction of the landing strip itself. Power shovels scoop up coral and load it into dump trucks for the surfacing of the strip. The trucks maintain a constant shuttle service from the coral bed to the airstrip, building up a fairly thick surface. Here the coral is broken up, leveled off, tamped down, and rolled until the strip has a smooth and straight surface. In the meantime, construction work has been in progress on the operations tower. As the tower begins to rise, radio equipment is unloaded. These heavy crates contain the generators for the new station. A tall coconut palm tree is used to support a temporary operating antenna. The branches are cleared with a machete and the aerial is attached. Later, standard radio masts will be erected. The lead-in is rigged on insulators and carried to the operating tent. Antenna and lead-in are connected, and the transmitting antenna is raised to the treetop, its installation complete. Now the tower is approaching completion. The top landing, 52 feet from the ground, is being built. With the preliminary work completed, the radio transmitting and receiving equipment is unpacked and installed. Generators are started, radio units are tuned, circuits are tested, and the new station is ready to go on the air. Just 3 days after the group arrived at the strip, the first messages were broadcast. At the same time, the operations crew took up their duties, while the finishing touches were being added to the tower, and the strip was announced as being completed and ready for traffic. The first plane to land was a Navy Corsair of the 17th Fighter Squadron. It buzzed the field once, but was waved off to give the construction crews time to remove their equipment. The pilot dropped a note telling that his engine was freezing up due to a broken oil line, and then came in for a perfect landing. A replacement engine was made ready for installation. The plane was wheeled to a bunker, and the repair work was started. The first C-47 lands on the new strip and provides a brief interlude for the men. Included in the manifest is an Army nurse who was greeted and made welcome by the GIs. A fighter bomber group in Upper Assam. To provide additional equipment for pilots that are forced to bail out over the jungle, the men of the 529th and 530th Squadrons of the 311th Fighter Bomber Group stationed at Dinjan, India, removed the rubber seat cushion of the standard parachute and replaced it with a case containing extra items. The modified chute is on the right. This is the standard parachute with the Type B4 parachute emergency kit. It contains a can of water, matches, flares, gloves, goggles, compass, mosquito head net, fishing line, cooking kit, signal panel, can starter, knife, folding machete, and first aid kit. On the right is the modified parachute altered in the field. In addition to all the equipment normally carried in the standard kit, the modified chute also contains the following articles, which will be placed on the table as the kit is unpacked. 2 GI blankets, 8 chocolate rations, a set of maps, a field jacket, 2 pairs of socks, a protector covering, a mirror, a pair of leggings, a pair of gloves, and a booklet on how to get along. One flashlight, 40 rounds of .45 caliber ammunition, bandage, sulfanilamide tablets, sulfanilamide powder, morphine, and salt tablets. The 80th Fighter Group of the 10th Air Force, stationed in Upper Assam, India, had trouble with the air intake control system on their P-40s of the N series. The standard system was not strong enough to withstand the vibration and backfires encountered during normal operation. Cold air would leak into the engine when the controls were set for hot air, and engine roughness and sometimes failure would result. This is the standard air duct being removed from the P-40. The Y filter duct assembly section usually cracked. This is the air filter door control rod bracket, which would also crack or break off. This is the standard cold air control rod, which was bent out of shape during routine flights. Here is the modified duct which the 80th Fighter Group improvised. Notice that the wide duct at the right end has been removed. On the standard duct, the air filter door control rod is loose because of a broken bracket. On the modified duct, the rod has been removed to be replaced with 1/4-inch steel anchor rods taken from an airplane mooring kit. The steel rods are strong enough to absorb both vibration and impact loads. Since there's very little wind in this theater, the airplane mooring kit is seldom used for its original purpose. This standard control rod was bent. This one broken in the normal course of operations and had to be welded. This steel anchor rod from the mooring kit, fitted with rod ends, has proven a very satisfactory replacement. The standard cold air door was also replaced by one made from heavy sheet aluminum. As a result, door warping and cold air leakage were eliminated. German prisoners are questioned close to the front lines. These are survivors of the casino bombing of March 16th.
Here's our first egg from point 193.
Oh.
Yeah. We got back pretty quickly. You may know some that lost if you'd like to ask him.
Ja. Wie stark waren die Verluste Ihrer Kompanie?
In dem Zeitpunkt, wo ich gefangen wurde,
Ja.
ist mein Kompaniechef gefallen und ein Oberjäger.
Ja.
Und da würde ich abfahren zu den weiter, kann ich nicht sagen.
Ja, Sie wissen, ich kann ja.
Nein, weiter kann ich nicht sagen.
Ja. Das ist
I
alles.
got a good bed there.
Ja, alright, God, take him away. Alright, das ist alles.
Also kommen Sie hier mit, ne? Kommen Sie hier rein. Na, Sie wurden hier genommen, ne? Nicht weit von der Höhe da oben. Können Sie mir sagen, wie stark hier Verluste da waren beim Arik vorher zuerst, nach der Bombardierung?
Nach der Bombardierung bei dem Eifel hatten wir keine Verluste.
Fast keine Verluste gehabt.
Doch,
Ist es
ein Oberjäger.
ein Oberjäger. Wie ist es, dass die Stellung sofort genommen wurde, wenn das Eifel
Durch
keine
die
Verluste
Überraschung.
eingefügt hat?
Durch eine Überraschung. Sowohl ganz überraschend und schnell. Schnell wurde die Stellung
Die
genommen.
ganze Kompanie aufgerieben worden, da oben auf der Höhe,
Das kann ich nicht
weil Sie
angeben.
schätzen
aber-
können.
Das kann ich nicht angeben, aber da ich schon frühzeitig weggeführt wurde.
Mhm. Schön. Also, nicht.
Ja, I guess
Also hier abtreten, ne? Abtreten.
so. Sie sind Gefreiter?
Wohlaufwand.
Was ist Ihre Feldpostnummer?
058 11a Hauptmann.
Ja. Wo sind Sie gefangen worden?
Rechts von der Burg. Neben einem verschlossenen Haus ist ein Unterstand. Dort wurde die Kompanie aufgerieben und kam in Gefangenschaft dabei.
Yeah. He was captured near the casino on the right-hand side. All right, take him away, guys. All right.
Excuse me, it's very interesting here, Captain, butting in.
All
I think
right.
this is the first chap we got out of the town after the bombing.
Oh, that's
I think he's very likely the last. He's very shaken. I wonder if we just like his impression,
Sure,
we'll
you
probably
bet.
get him along right
Yeah.
away, would you?
All right. Go ahead.
Sie haben die ganze Bombardierung da erlebt, nicht wahr? Und erzählen Sie mal hier dem amerikanischen Hauptmann, was da passiert ist, was Ihre Eindrücke sind, ob es Ihnen Spaß gemacht hat oder nicht.
Spaß kann man bestimmt nicht sagen. Es war furchtbar. Es kam Welle auf Welle und wir hatten wenig Schutz. Wir wussten nicht, wo wir hin sollten. Ich glaube kaum, dass die meisten meiner Kameraden rausgekommen sind. Ich habe bisher noch keinen mehr gesehen.
War der Angriff, der Luftangriff von dieser fliegenden Festung da eine vollkommene Überraschung für die Fallschirmjäger im Casino und der Stadt selbst?
Es war überhaupt nicht erwartet worden, dass überhaupt so viel Luftwaffe vorhanden war.
Mhm.
Es war ganz überraschend und wir wussten gar nicht, wo wir hin sollten.
Und wie sieht jetzt zum Beispiel die ganze Stadt aus nach der Bombardierung? Das
Die
hat
Stadt ist
3,5
vollkommen
Stunden
verwüstet.
gedauert. Ne?
Man kann überhaupt nicht mehr durch.
Mhm.
Ein Trümmerhaufen.
Glauben Sie, dass Ihre Kompanie da vollkommen aufgerieben wurde bei diesem Luftangriff?
Das wird wohl sehr wahrscheinlich der Fall sein, dass höchstens ein paar Mann noch rauskommen, aber die meisten sind nicht mehr rausgekommen.
Okay. You like that story?
Yeah, that's
Shall I give it down here?
yeah, okay.
He describes the attack as follows. It lasted 3.5 hours as a complete surprise. They never expected such colossal air attack from the forts. They came in wave after wave, completely unexpected, and reduced the town to a complete pile of ashes. This chap really was completely shattered by it. And he does think that the company of which he belongs, which I know already, has been pretty well completely wiped out. He cannot imagine that more than 2 or 3 come out of the town. And so it seems to me things have been most colossal success. It's been frightfully shaky. Okay? Let's concentrate.
The 99th Fighter Squadron, the first American all-Negro fighter outfit to see combat, shot down 8 enemy aircraft in 1 day's fighting over Italy. Some of the pilots are interviewed at their base at Capodichino.
Hey guys, I got something for you here. 22. Got a message from the commanding general, 64th Fighter Wing. It reads, congratulations on the outstanding performance of your fighters on January 27th, 44. Please express to your pilots my great admiration for their aggressive fighting spirit. I also wish to commend your ground crews for their great devotion to duty, which made this splendid achievement possible. Signed by Falcon.
The general?
Yeah.
Yesterday, I fulfilled one of my ambitions as a combat pilot. I got 1 airplane. On the last mission, in which I got a probable, I was quite peeved in that the airplane didn't go down. Yesterday, I was quite surprised and quite pleased to see him go down. It was the 2nd combat mission I've been on in which I've seen an airplane and had a chance to shoot at one. We were quite lucky that we were in a good position to fire at them. One thing which surprised me very greatly was the speed at which they got in and dropped the bombs and got out. As they came over and completed a dive bomb run, I saw 3 pass underneath my wing. The 4th one was the unfortunate one.
After completing 25th mission over enemy territory, today was the first time I had seen enemy aircraft. It didn't surprise me at all the minute I saw my leader drop his belly tank. I then dropped mine and turned on my safety switch and gun sight. Immediately he flew directly behind 4 Focke-Wulf, and I was at his right, and 2 enemy aircraft came up on his right to shoot him. I immediately then turned right. This was my leader, and the 2nd ship was me, and 2 Focke-Wulfs came on my right. I turned right and put up a stone wall of bullets, and the first enemy aircraft flew into it. Then I stopped shooting, and he bailed out.
Good.
Man, I shot, got frantic and jumped out. Tell me about yours.
Well, I tell you, a lot of commotion around that day, and I saw this boy fall out of the sky, and I latched right onto him. Well, the first thing I knew, he right down on the ground, and I was right behind him. You know, I thought that Focke was going to get away from me.
Yeah?
I let him have everything.
How far did you run it?
Oh, we went, he almost dropped on the Vatican.
Yeah.
British and American paratroopers engage in large-scale maneuvers somewhere in England. These standard C-47s, operated by the Troop Carrier Command of the 9th Air Force, are on their way to the drop zone. En route, they hedge-hop most of the way, usually flying not more than 50 or 60 feet above the ground. But as they approach the dropping area, they climb to about 500 feet to give the men sufficient altitude for safe jumping. These are the men that will spearhead the invasion, neutralizing enemy airfields, blowing up supply and fuel dumps, wrecking transportation facilities, and blocking enemy reinforcements when D-Day arrives. This is the jump master with his ever-present cigar, which has become a symbol of good luck to the men of his unit. As the drop zone is approached, the jump master watches the terrain very closely. The paratroopers are to make their jump under cover of a smoke screen. The command is given to stand up and hook up. And on the signal, the jump master leads the way. The following scene was photographed by a camera strapped to the chest of the jump master. Watch that big grin when the parachute opens. As each transport reaches its proper position, the signal is given and the paratroops pour out of the planes as fast as they can. Notice that the parachutes open just as soon as the men clear the tail surfaces of the transport. The planes are quickly emptied and a formidable force, striking with surprising speed, hits the ground ready for action. Static lines are pulled back into the C-47s and the transports head back to base to prepare for the second phase of the maneuvers. Sometimes a strong ground breeze makes the rapid collapse of the parachute a difficult problem. The paratroopers carry lots of equipment on their jumps, some of which they release just before hitting the ground to prevent fouling their parachutes on landing. There were a few minor casualties during the mass jump. This man was struck in the face by a descending paratrooper and is treated by a first aid man. Smoke pots are fired to guide the planes that are bringing additional supplies. The C-47s that brought the troopers in have since returned to base, loaded up with supplies and equipment to parachute to the men on the ground, and have returned to the dropping area. Some planes carry their containers of supplies externally and drop them like a bomb. The planes head for home to be ready for another trip if one is needed.